price of leadership. It begins with loneliness. Aloneness when you move ahead, when you move away from the crowd. Loneliness begins when you make a decision to make it yours and die by it. It becomes real when you know who you're going to live your life with. You've made up your mind where you're going to live your life. You're not going to look for a better deal. You're going to build you a better life where you are. And knowing what you're living it for. But now the price goes on. The price of weariness. Weariness. But is this the age of being weary? No. This is the age of relaxation. Slow down. Patience of take it easy. You got to get away from it all. People used to say to me, Jones, you're going to kill yourself. You got to get away from it all. I say, get away from it all. I'm trying to get into it all. Why would I want to get away from it all? And I used to listen to these people tell me about how you overdo it, brother. Well, I'll tell you this. When you pay the price, you're going to be weary. You know why you're going to pay the price and be weary? Because you're going to have to do more than your share. Do you know why you got to do more than your share? To compensate for all the people around where you are that aren't doing their share. And you got to do more than your share for compensating them. And you don't ever talk about what you're not doing, they're not doing their share. You know somebody's got to do it, and if they're not going to do it, you're going to do it. Is that right? In every organization, every church, and every business, there's always some people who do more than their share to compensate for all the people who aren't going to do their share. Now, is that right? That's right. Absolutely right. You tell me you're not going to be weary? You're going to be weary. They're weary from doing nothing. So you know you're going to be weary from doing their share. Yet you hear people say, it isn't worth it. Do you know what kills people? You know what is wearisome? It isn't what you do. It isn't raising the children. It isn't teaching school. It isn't teaching church. You know what is wearisome? It isn't what you do. You know what's wearisome? The leader killers. All they do is they just hang around and holler, it isn't worth it. It isn't worth it. It isn't worth it. You know what I say? Who said it was? A mother doesn't do things for the children because it's worth it. You know why the mother does it? She knows she does it because somebody got to do it. You don't do the things you ought to do at work because you ought to do it. You do it because somebody better do it, or what you're a part of won't be worth being a part of, will you? Right. But only a leader thinks that way, do they? The person not paying a price will never think that way, will they? What do I care? I'll go somewhere else. Mm-hmm. Well, you'll have a lot of people with you, but you aren't tuned in on life yet. You see, I tell you why you're going to be weary. You're going to pay a price of weariness. Who is it that gets it? You stick your neck out, you're going to get it. You know, the guy went in to see the prospect. The prospect says, who let you in my office? You get off my property. You work for nothing but a bunch of blood-sucking gangsters. And if I catch you in my property again, I'll have you arrested. This guy said, I wish I had 100 prospects like you. He says, why? He said, I've got 1,000 like you. Now, why are you laughing? Because what you got to learn about life, I don't care whether you're witnessing or teaching Sunday school or whether you're in business, running a business, or out in the field selling, you got to get used to it. You're going to meet with rudeness. My young daughter sold books for Southwestern one summer. She was so happy down here in Bluefield. She met the most wonderful, dear people. Didn't have two negroes to rub together, but they were kind and thoughtful and generous and loving. Then she went over to a community one day where the rich people were, because she thought she'd go over there and make a killing and roll in the money. She called me on the phone that night crying her eyes out. She said, Dad, I didn't know anybody could be this rude. I never dreamed in all my life. Everybody I've talked to today just crying their eyes out. And I was so happy for her. I was so happy. Oh, I wanted to cry with her. But I was so happy she was learning what life is. Some people go through that rudeness, ridicule, every day of their life. It shouldn't be that way, but it is. You see, it's wearisome if you're going to see that and not give up. Keep on, go on back, honey, tomorrow. Going back over to Bluefield. They're not all like that. And she went back over and she found they weren't like that. You see, it's like the guy went to see the prospects and they insulted him. He went back to the manager and says, well, the manager was out taking a nap. So he told one of the old salesmen, he says, what do you do if you get insulted? He said, I don't know. Well, you mean you were never insulted? In all the years you've been, how long you been? 20 years? You were never insulted in 20 years? Well, let me think. I've been kicked, spit on, and beat up, but nobody ever insulted me. Now, I like that. I like that. You know the mark of a good mother? You know the mark of a great executive? A thick skin and a soft heart. Do you know the mark of a little person? A thin skin and a hard heart. Now, how do you get a thick skin and a soft heart from a thin skin and a hard heart? I'll tell you how you do it. You realize there's going to be a price of weariness. You're going to have to do more than your share. You'll never get paid or thanked for it. But you'll enjoy the rewards of paying a price. That'll be the opposite of the rewards you'll get if you don't pay the price. Because you're going to be paid either way. There's another price you pay. And you got to be learning now. You got to be like the Indian chief who was drafted into the army. The first day they were there, they blew the bugle and woke him up. They blew the flag up. They blew the bugle to get him to come get the mail. They blew the bugle to eat lunch. They blew the bugle to get to his supper. They blew the bugle to put him back to sleep. Every time that Indian turned around, they were blowing the bugle. And he had him saluting the general, the colonel, the major, the captain. And he was saluting and saluting. After a few days, he went and he says, "Me quit him this army." So you can't quit the army. He said, "Me no like him this army." He said, "Well, what don't you like about it?" He says, "Too much toot 'em and salute 'em and not enough shoot 'em." Well, that's the way we like. You know what gets you down? You know what gets you down today in church and business? We toot 'em and salute 'em and shoot 'em and salute 'em. And you know what? Some of these days, oh, Lord, let's get something done. Let's go to work. Well, but there'll be a price then. Now, quick. The last price is abandonment. Abandonment. You know what a lot of people think leadership is? What you can't do. Leadership is what you can do. Leadership, it isn't what you're wrong about something that makes a difference. It's what's right about it. You see, there's not enough time to do all the things you like to do and want to do, and all the things you ought to do and need to do. So abandonment is when you see what you ought to do and need to do that keeps you from doing what you like to do and you want to do. Don't let anybody tell you to do what you want to do. That's a lie. Most people do what they want to do. A few people, like mothers, and a few people do what they ought to do. You know how I know that? That's how you got raised. You wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for your dear mother. Can you imagine your mother listening to a motivational cassette in order to get you off to school in the morning? You'd have died in bed.
They took one too.
Thank God for mothers. They do it anyhow. Now, see, the mother, she didn't get no motivation. Now, this is Motivation Network, and we are the motivators. But thank God this motivation is different than a feeling where you feel it. It's committing your life and involving your life where it flows out. And guess what? That's wearisome. It's wearisome. Why? Because sometimes you look like you're alone, but you're not alone, are you? Because if you think, you say, "I'm never alone. Lo, I am with thee always." Now, you see, my kids, you say, "Dad, what's wrong with this? What's wrong with Why can't we do that?" Listen, I don't want to hear no more of what we can't do and what's wrong with it. I want to hear what's right about it and what we can do. You can do whatever you want to do, just give me a good reason. So they say, "Well, what's wrong with smoking?" Nothing's wrong with smoking. You find a good reason to smoke? Go ahead. But people say to me, they hear me say, "Do you care for a cigarette?" I say, "No, thank you, I already got cancer." No, I don't, but I might have. See, I used to do that for shock. I never tell my children you can't smoke. Why? Because quitting anything isn't going to get you anywhere with God, because it's what God gives you, not what you give Him. She said, "What's wrong with drinking?" Nothing's wrong with drinking. You find a good reason to drink, bring a bottle home, I'll join you. But nobody brought a bottle home yet. Why? Because they can't find a good reason. But what a difference to do what you ought to do and need to do, to tell them what you can't do, what's wrong with it, because if you don't see it, you may as well keep your mouth shut. They got to see it with the heart. Abandonment. Now, I got to tell you, you see the price of leadership, the loneliness, the weariness, abandonment. You know where it comes from? Vision. I heard Jerry Falwell say something once, and I never got over. You know why I didn't get over it? Because Jerry Falwell didn't invent this. he put some words on a truth I knew. And then when he said it, it was mine, and I relate him to it, but I knew it before he said it, but he had to say it, so I knew it. And Jerry Falwell said, vision is seeing things from God's point of view. That's good. You see, it isn't an unusual creativity. It isn't a great dream. It's beautiful, plain, simple things that nothing in all the world can be as beautiful as something simple and real. Where the people have no vision, the people perish. Where there is no vision, the people perish. And so when we come back now, in the closing minutes tonight, I'm going to share with you some of the great books where some of the great people you know got their ideas that we think they got a great vision, but did they get a great vision? No. They got a simple picture of something that was real. But because it was so beautiful and simple and real, it looks like a great vision. Now when you come back, I'm going to share that with you.